just destruction today. That was insane, guys. Insane. We just got wrecked and we just kept going down. We kept going down and we kept going down. Now, before I get into the video, I did want to point out this video. I did put this out. I only got 81 views on it. Hopefully, these people were paying attention. But I did say that we would likely get a pullback. And I had a feeling that we would likely get a pullback. Now, if I'm being honest, I didn't believe that it was going to be this nasty as it was. But I did expect this dump. I also expected, again, we're going to get into the Palantir chart here in a minute. Okay, so now really quick, let me go to Discord. We absolutely killed it in Discord today. I alerted once for the free alerts here. We are up on this position. I think we ended the day up like 15 bucks. Again, the market's tanked. Okay, so we ended up like 15 bucks on this trade so far. But in our VIP section, this is where you upgrade. This is actually today's winners. I think this is today's winners. So we made $150 on Nvidia calls. We made 155 on crowd calls, and we made $100 on SPY calls. Okay, so we actually killed it today again. Markets were going down, but the Discord was killing it. Okay, so let me get into the charts here. Now, again, I said this the other day. I literally said it, I think, 1 week ago, and I said I'm selling Palantir. Maybe it was like 3 or 4 days ago. I don't remember. But again, I said I was selling Palantir. My average was 154, 153 ish. I sold it, I think, at 164. I think the top was like 165. So I got pretty close. But look at this, guys. Literally, just ever since I sold and ever since I told you guys that there was a head and shoulders on the daily chart, we've just been bleeding. We've been capitulating, hemorrhaging. It's just everything's getting cooked. Okay, so we're sitting right here about 128, 129. Now, again, I still do think that this is going to keep coming down. I really do. I think this could get to $100. That would be a place of interest. That is like a psychological buy. That's a psychological level. So that is a level that I'm looking for. I do believe that if we get to this level, I'll probably start to buy again. I won't do big buys. I will just start to buy. Okay. So anytime I say I'm buying, I'm not like, oh, I'm buying, I'm putting everything in it. Okay. So I will probably, grab me a few shares, 10, 20, 30, 40 shares, whatever, depending on your portfolio size. Of course, you got to always do that. Okay. So again, nothing I say is financial advice, just my own opinions. And so far, they've been pretty good opinions. Okay. So another one we got to talk about is Hood. Now, again, I did say this in my previous videos. I am buying. I am down on my position. Full transparency, I am down. But again, like I have been saying in my previous videos, is that this is going to be based off of crypto. Stocks like MSTR, stocks like BMNR, stocks like Coinbase, stocks like Hood, those kinds of stocks are going to move with crypto. So if crypto continues to come down, these stocks unfortunately are going to feel the pain. Okay. So, you can't just expect these stocks to rebound because Bitcoin is getting crushed. Okay. So again, I am buying still. I still believe in this. I still believe that it can hit $130. Now, again, like I said, that's going to go based off of Bitcoin. Okay, so I did buy a little bit here at 104. I bought a tiny bit here because I wasn't far off. I bought more here, and I also bought a little more here. Okay, so my average somewhere is in this 80, probably like 85 range. That's my average. We're currently sitting at 72. I do believe that there will be some sort of a rebound. Now, my next area of support would be pretty much at this all-time high right here at 66 if we were to get there. And again, like I always say, that depends on Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin has been getting absolutely wrecked. So, I mean, I feel like there's got to be some sort of pullback, but and actually I will go into that chart in a second, but that would be my next buy order. Like I said, I buy on these levels, and then once it starts to come back up, now I'm up on my position. Okay. And that's why you wait for these levels and you buy small amounts. And as it's coming down, you can add a little more to your position, right? But that's how you do it. And again, that's my next area to buy, somewhere at this $68 range. Okay. So again, I've been buying SoFi. Now, here's what I will say before I go over any of these other ones. Here's what I will say, just to give an example. If you're somebody that has, depending on your position, depending on your account size, let's just pretend you have $10,000. Okay. So, what I like to do, again, this is something I do, not financial advice, but this is something I do with my portfolios. So, at these levels, and I guess I should have explained this from the beginning of all of my videos, but what I do is at these levels I add put my to my position. Okay, so again, if I have $10,000, let's just use $10,000 as an example. I won't go all in right here at $22. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, oh cool, it's at $22. Okay, I'm putting in $10,000. That's everything I have. Now I have no money left, and I hope that it bounces. And now look where you'd be down, $3,000. Okay. So what I would do, for my portfolios, if I had 10,000, I don't have 10,000. I'm just saying, if I had 10,000, I have more than that, but I would add here. Okay. So I'd be like, okay, let me buy, 25 shares. Okay. Goes down to this level. Let me buy another 25 shares. Now your average is somewhere in this middle at like 21. Comes down to this level. Let me buy another 25 shares. Okay. Now I'm just using 25 shares as an example. You got to do your own risk management and stuff like that, but I'm just using that as an example. And then by the time we rebound, if you're buying at those levels, now it's like you're not so over leveraged that your average is 22. You have 10,000 at 22. Now your average is somewhere down here at 19, 20, and now it comes back up to 30. And now you're like, cool, now I'm like way up on my position. Yeah, it's a smaller size. It's not 300 shares, but it's 75 shares, and I can continue to buy, and then I can also buy other stocks. Okay. So that's how I do it. And that's just, some wisdom is again, that's for my trading strategy, and that's what I do. Okay, so again, nothing, like I said, nothing I say is financial advice, just my thoughts and opinions and what I'm doing. So the next one, let's go to IREN. They did have earnings today and they did get wrecked, so I want them to it. As I'm looking at this, it is February 5th. Yeah, I'm doing this video at night, so let's see what Friday. Usually I'll say this. Usually, if the week is bad, then usually Friday is a pump day. Okay, like kind of like a relief day. Okay, now again, do your own due diligence, do your own research, but typically that's how it's been. Okay, and if it's the reversed, if we've been pumping and pumping and pumping all week, then Friday is usually a dump day. Okay, so I would expect some sort of relief tomorrow, and let's see if that happens. Okay, so again, we did close right here, but again, we did have earnings. So I think we're somewhere in this $35 range. So I would like for it to close tomorrow above this channel. Now, again, if you've been following my channel, I did add here. I said, I think I said right here, I was like, I want to buy right here. So I did buy a little bit there, and then I did buy a little bit there. Now, if we continue to go down, my next area would be the 200 SMA. I'll buy a little bit there, and we'll look at levels, as we continue to go down. But I would want to see this close above this, kind of like a hanging man candle, something kind of like this one that you see here. I would like to see something like this candle tomorrow up here in this area. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for that one. Let me go to APLD really, really quick here. This is another one. Again, if you've been watching my videos, I said that basically once we broke below here, I was like, we're for sure coming down here. And we did. And I was like, let's watch it for this level. We broke right through that. And then we broke right through that. So it looks like we're coming down to this level, but we could retrace pretty quick. So I did buy a little bit at this level. I bought a little bit at this level, and then I bought a little bit in here. And then now I'm waiting for a move down to 26. And again, I think I have like 100 shares right now. So if it were to come down to this level, my average is like 31. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for APLD. Okay, so this is the next one. I don't think I've talked about this one on this channel here, but it is USAR rare earth. So this is one of those ones that I am accumulating shares in the 18 through $22 range. That's where I'm accumulating shares for a longer term point of view. Now, I would love if it came back and it touched this resistance here at $19. I would buy more. But like I said, this is one that I'm holding for the next 3 to 4 years, possibly, maybe even longer, but I'm just giving some sort of a time frame. So again, I am buying shares. I am just kind of like SoFi. I'm accumulating shares in the 18 through $22 range. That's where I'm buying shares. Okay, that's one. That is one that I'm buying for a longer term point of view. Another one that I started buying today was App. Now, again, we are hanging on this support line right here at 172, 173. Now, again, this is one of those companies that I'm holding for a longer term point of view. So if it continues to go down, I actually don't mind buying more, but I would like to see this trend line stay here and it not break this line. I would like to see some upside. And again, I did do a pretty decent buy here at like 372, 373. I'm hoping that it'll fill this earnings gap here at 449 in the coming days, in the coming weeks. Okay, so again, as you can see here in the past, every time that we have tapped this line, basically I drew this line after we got this second tap here. So we were at $63, $64, made an all-time high at $500, and then we came all the way down to 200, which was a crazy drop, crazy pop and a crazy drop. And then we made all-time highs again, 742, and now it kind of seems like we could potentially, excuse me, be doing it again here at 372. Okay, so if we have one of those crazy moves, I mean, maybe we could come here and make an all-time high. Okay, so but again, I am buying these shares for a more longer term view. Okay, now that's basically all I have to say about the video. Now, something I will say is today was an insane day. Okay, I mean, we had earnings for Amazon, we had earnings for a few other companies. So what I'm doing is I'm buying these shares in my long-term portfolios for a longer point of view. There was a lot of fear today, a lot of people, selling, a lot of people freaking out. Even myself, I was like, dang, this dump is crazy. But again, I am adding Amazon shares, Tesla shares, there's plenty more. You're gonna have to check out my Discord. I did a full breakdown, but again, those are companies that I'm adding to my long term portfolios, and I think Amazon under 200 is a steal in my opinion. So I'm buying Amazon. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now let me go on over to my school community again. This is where we teach you how to trade if you're having trouble or you've never traded for yourself. Okay, so I mean, we have 756 members in here. I have a full classroom, and I show you. There's plenty of videos in here on how to learn how to trade and stuff like that. Okay, you can come in here, type in a comment if you need help, and then again, I also have a Discord community, which I showed you at the beginning of the video. We have a free alerts section here, so that is where we are going to drop our free alerts. And then we have our trading floor. Anybody can come in here and say something if you need help. Same here with the Q&A. If you have questions or anything, anybody can type that in there. Now, for our VIP tier, this is where we drop a lot of our stuff, and this is the upgrade link right here. But yeah, we've been dropping fire in here. Okay, so that is it for the video. Let's see how tomorrow goes. Like I said, usually if we have a down week, then Friday could be an up day. And if we have an up week, Friday could be a down day. Okay, now I'm saying this on, Thursday nights around 10 o'clock at night. So, the markets are going to be open in about 12 hours, 13 hours, something like that. So again, I believe that tomorrow should have some relief, but again, nothing I say is financial advice. Don't count on it, but that's just what I'm expecting. That's what I'm going to be watching. Okay. So don't forget to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on if you like my videos, and we'll see you in the next video.